Join me today as we discuss whether or not Jaws, a 50-year-old movie, still holds up in theaters. This is the Geek of All channel. If you've not been here before, my name is Bobbie, and today we're going to be talking about the 50th anniversary theatrical release of Jaws, which I watched with two of my nephews about a week and a half ago now, and it was an interesting experience. I believe we were the three youngest people in the theater. I was surprised there weren't a few more people my age, but they were mainly older people. In the theater, was moderate attendance. So overall, the picture quality was excellent, and there was there was an introduction by Steven Spielberg where he talked a little bit about that. Talked about filming the movie, whenever he was in his 20s. I think he said he was 25 when he filmed it, and talk about just a little bit of the behind the scenes stuff. The problems with the mechanical shark and everything, but also that this was a new transfer of the movie made for the 4K releases, but also for this theatrical release and for IMAX and things like that. And in hindsight, I kind of wish I could have seen this on IMAX. But it had been a long time since I've actually watched the movie all the way through. So I forgot that it's really not the blood and gore that you would expect from a movie about a shark eating people. So it is a PG movie, by the way, because it predates the PG-13 rating by almost a decade, if I remember correctly. So there's no, there's no nudity, or I don't think it's all much cursing, if I recall. So yeah, it's just all some scenes of gore, but not very many. For those of you who don't know the plot to the movie, it's Amity Island, and they're going to open up the beaches for the 4th of July weekend, and girl goes missing at the beginning of the movie. They find her remains, and the coroner tells the sheriff it was a shark attack. But then the mayor kind of gets to him and was like, well, I guess it could have been some other things. And then our sheriff is played by Roy Scheider. And then we have an expert show up, a very young Richard Dreyfuss, and he takes one look at the body, what's left of the body, and he's like, well, this is obviously a shark attack. And based on the size of the bite and everything, he can tell that it's a fairly large shark. So the townspeople head out in their boats to try to catch the shark. And but the mayor's insisting that the beaches have to open because that's the lifeblood of the town. So they open the beaches. They catch a shark, and Richard Dreyfuss tries to tell them it's not the real shark. And this is after a little boy gets killed. He goes out, and as everyone else is in the water, Roy Scheider can see to where he is, and see he gets torn apart by the shark. So they catch a shark, and Richard Dreyfuss does some measurements, and he's like, this isn't it. The mouth's too small. He's like, this is a man-eater. And he's like, and it may be, this could be the shark. He's like, we got to cut it open and find out. And they cut it open, and nothing. So there's a gentleman on the island, Quint, who is played by Robert Shaw, if I remember right, and who I know him more from Russia with Love, where he's the former KGB. No, he wasn't a former KGB. I think he's a criminal turned Spectre agent, and they send him after Bond. But the three of them go out. Richard Dreyfuss's character, Roy Scheider, and Robert Shaw, to catch the shark. And this is the point where, Richard Dreyfuss has become convinced it's a great white shark. I think they actually see it at one point. But yeah. So then about the last third of the movie is them on the boat trying to kill the shark, which they succeed in doing, and lose one of the, Robert Shaw buys it just before they kill the shark. But the last third, there's tense, but it's also coupled with the levity, where initially Robert Shaw and or Quint and I can't remember Richard Dreyfuss's character's name. They kind of butt heads because Quint's the he's the blue collar, the working man. This is his boat, his thing. He's the captain, and he thinks this other guy's just a college guy, has never seen the real world or anything. And they come to respect each other a little bit when they start comparing scars. And then as they get towards the end of their various stories, I don't remember if it was Roy Scheider or Richard Dreyfuss, but one of them notices another scar on Quint and asks him about that one. And he was aboard the USS Indianapolis, which was sank in World War II. And a lot of the men that went in the water didn't come back. So he tells the story about that, and then you know where the steely resolve that he has and everything comes from. But yeah, in the end they blow up the shark. It swallows an air tank, and Roy Scheider shoots it with a rifle and causes it to explode, which I believe Mythbusters showed that would absolutely not happen. But, it's a movie. So if you saw, I did a video about Close Encounters of the Third Kind, which I watched last year, I believe, or really early this year. It's a Spielberg movie. And I even mentioned that as I was watching it, the thought occurred to me like, man, it's a shame Spielberg never made any horror movies because this is perfectly set up for a horror movie. That's not the payoff in any way, but the setup was definitely there. And of course, 5 seconds later, oh right, he did make Jaws. He has in fact made a horror movie, and he produced and oversaw production of Poltergeist. Tobe Hooper was the actual director, but Spielberg was there on the set and everything. So he does have horror experience, but you definitely see it here with Jaws. Now, Jaws is considered the first modern blockbuster. It was eclipsed absolutely by Star Wars 2 years later, A New Hope, because Jaws came out in 1975, A New Hope came out in 1977. So, yeah. But, overall, an excellent movie. Definitely don't regret paying to see it or anything like that. Like I said, wish I could have seen it on IMAX. And it's, it's a movie from 1975. The picture looked excellent, though. The sound quality and all that's top notch. As far as I'm aware, they didn't edit anything in the movie. And I think Jim and myself recorded our next podcast episode a couple days ago. This is going to be up before that because I've got to edit that. And we went over longer, and the longer the video, the longer it takes me to edit it. So we talked a little bit about theaters running older movies, as a way to fill gaps because Hollywood's production schedule was really slowing down. And I mentioned that I watched this movie recently, and so yeah, I definitely think that it could be part of a solution to keep theaters going, especially a movie like this, a movie that has, people know the movie, it was popular, it was always a blockbuster, it's Spielberg. And I don't know about the sequels necessarily, but at the very least, the original here. So, yeah, movies like this, definitely. And minor side note about this movie in particular. It's based on a book written by Peter Benchley, and years later, he said that he regretted writing the book and the movie. The movie is the real catalyst for this, because it seemed to have single-handedly led to a lot of people going out and just massacring sharks. And, they've existed for 300 million years. They weren't a problem before this book, and they weren't a problem after this book, but everyone got the impression that they're just everywhere, just waiting to devour people out in the oceans. And so it's humans the shark challenged us, and we took that personally. And so they decimated shark populations as a result. So, yeah, I can see where he's coming from. It's kind of tragic when you write a book ends up presumably being a bestseller, if not before the movie, then definitely after, and it goes on to this very famous movie, famous director and everything, but it leads to that just horrific outcome. That's got to be hard to deal with. But yeah, that was really interesting seeing it on the big screen. My nephews both loved the movie. We had some jokes as we were watching it. There was one point where Quint says something. He just goes on for a good 30 seconds. And my nephew was like, what on earth did he just say? And I was like, that's authentic fisherman gibberish right there for you. kind of paraphrasing the line from Blazing Saddles, where they mention one of the characters like, that's authentic frontier gibberish right there. But it's another good movie you should watch sometime if you've never seen it. Definitely a product of its time, fair warning. So, yeah, overall, like if you ever get the chance to see this movie in the theater and you haven't seen it, it's definitely worth your time. I don't know when it'll be back because this is the 50th anniversary, but I've got to follow up on this to double check. But I did read someone comment to the effect that it probably was the number 2 movie at the box office this last weekend that it came out, was re-released. So that should tell you something. If a 50-year-old movie that you can watch, I'm sure, on one of the streaming services for free. In fact, I tried to convince my mom to go watch it because I know she's seen the movie and she likes the movie. And she even told me that like it was on TV, like on just a cable channel, like the next day. So a movie that you could, I'm sure, find some way to watch for free, and it's the number 2 movie at the box office. Like that is saying something. It's definitely saying that Hollywood is really screwing up, and maybe the first step to get out of the hole is use the back catalog. Like, people like the old movies, put them back out. Stagger the releases and everything, and plan it a little bit, but use them to supplement what you're making. It's not going to cost you anything. You already paid for the movies. But anyway, excellent movie if you've never seen it. Highly recommended. Most of the people who watch this channel seem to be around mine and Jim's age, but I do see we're getting an influx of people 1 or 2 age categories younger than us. So if you're one of those folks, and because I think most people my age have probably seen the movie, younger people, you might not have seen it. Like I said, definitely recommended. My nephews were, they're like 12, 13 years old, and they were entertained by it. So, Anyway, that's all I've got to say on this one. So let me know down in the comments. Have you seen the movie? You've seen it on the big screen. Did you watch it whenever it was out here for its 50th anniversary? Do you want me to, post some kind of... I can post comments here on YouTube, not just for the videos, but like an actual comment that'll show up if you're subscribed to us. As these movies are coming up, so that to look for them, because obviously I'm not going to do my review until after the movie, which will probably be too late for you to watch it by the time I film it and edit it and everything else. So yeah, if you want me to do something beforehand, if you also follow us on TikTok, I can probably do a real short blurb and put it over there before some of these movies come out. Also, if you're not following us on TikTok, if you're on TikTok, go for it. And if you're coming here from TikTok, I appreciate you subscribing over here too. All that always helps. But yeah, like I said, let me know down in the comments. If you've seen the movie, plan on watching the movie. Did you like it? Did you like any of the sequels? I think the third one's in 3D, if I remember right. But yeah, let me know any of that. Like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Sharing and commenting help us grow the channel. And we recently surpassed 575 subscribers. So things keep moving this way. We'll be at 600 in the very near future, hopefully. So, and thank all you folks who helped make that happen, and hopefully you'll stay with us. But yeah, that's all I've got to say on this one. So just remember, you ever find yourself in that situation, you're going to need a bigger boat.
We're going to need a bigger boat.